Okay, and welcome everyone. My name is Nick Marchese. I'm here on behalf of Cloud Asta for our third webinar of a new series where we're focused on supporting you and your organization, whether you're an admin or an end user, and you want to learn a little bit more about how to get the most out of Google Workspace. So this is our third one of our cycle. Currently named, in case you missed it, for Google Workspace. The concept behind this is there are 2 to 5 updates across all of the different Google Workspace apps and platforms that come out every day. And it can be a little hard to keep track of all of those new features and which ones work for you, which ones are interesting, which ones are part of the model, the license that you have for your organization. So we try to sift through a lot of that for you, show you what we think are some of the best things and most interesting things out there, and share those with you and demo what we can. And if you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask those as we go. Just some quick updates and reminders in case you haven't joined us before. If you see anything that, especially if you are an admin, that today that looks really interesting and requires you to make any changes on your admin console, please just make note of it and don't make any changes in haste during the webinar in case it isn't a fully thought through change. But please make sure you make note of those so you can go ahead and check those out later. And as we are going, if you have any questions, please go ahead and just send them in the chat. And if we get to a point where we need to unmute and talk voice to voice, we will do that. Otherwise, please feel free, whether it's in the middle of the slide or just at the end, whatever works best, just throw some questions into the chat and we can make sure we get some clarifying questions happening. And I think that is all we have to do. So let's get going here. We have a lot of stuff that we want to cover. I wanted to kind of give you a big outline of the different things I want to talk about today. So these are topics or new features that have come out over the last about month and a half. And all the features that we want to showcase or share with you in this session are features that should be fully rolled out at this point. Meaning if you are interested in it and you have the right SKU and the right license for your organization, then it should be available. There are some things that have come out in the last day or two that are very interesting and very exciting, but we're not sharing those with you today because they're not rolled out. They've just been announced. So those will be features that we'll talk about in 6 weeks when we have the next one of these sessions where we're recapping on new features. So we have some admin-specific ones that we're going to talk about at the very beginning. And then we're going to get into all user topics at the bottom. Obviously, if you're an admin, you're also a user. So a lot of things on the bottom will be interesting as well. And you can go ahead and hopefully get something out of this. And hopefully you take away at least 1 or 2 really good nuggets from this. And if you don't, we would love to hear some feedback as to why and how we can make this better for you moving forward. All right. I'm going to just jump right in. And again, feel free to send something in the chat and slow me down. All right, so our first thing is the business starter and frontline users, organizations can now collaborate with non-Google users. So if you have a business starter Google Workspace account or a frontline Workspace account, you can now go ahead and share files and collaborate with non-Google users. There's a rate limit of 5 visitor shares per month per user. And this is in alignment with whether you currently allow users in your organization to share files and invitations with folks outside of your organization. If you do not have a business starter or frontline account, this doesn't apply to you. This is a very specific one, and we can go ahead and make those changes in that setting. Great. Well, I'm just checking out your question right now. Give me 1 second to read that out. I'd like to know what version of the shared shared and remove this version. Basically, remove those. Oh, great question. I'm thinking that this is going to be a little bit more of a complex answer. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to go right through all of our topics for today, and I'll be sure to leave a little time to brainstorm on that, and we could always take it offline after the fact. Does that sound good? Okay, great. I think I know where you're going, but it's not going to be a yes, easy answer that I want to share something with you in a little bit. So if you have a frontline or starter account in your admin console, you would just want to go ahead and make sure that under your share settings, you are on Google Drive and your apps, that you have the share with non-Google users checked on, which will be under share settings. And if we were scrolling down, this one, allow users to your domain to send invitations to non-Google users outside your domain, and so on. And the same one right here, depending on whether you have it on whitelisted domains or on in general. If that doesn't apply to you because you're skewed, then it's nothing you have to really worry about. Okay, something that is impacting everybody: the backup and sync transition to the Drive app. So if users have the application installed on their computer, they need to go ahead and transition from the backup and sync application, which is being used for years now, to the Drive app. And this is to make all of the existing clients, the backup and sync and Drive file stream, into one Drive for Desktop app. I'm listing here a little bit of the timeline that's been rolled out over the last couple of months. So back in July, the support is showing folks how to go ahead and make that transition. Starting on the 18th, which is next week, any users who still have backup and sync installed on their computers will start receiving in-product notification saying, hey, this is going to go away soon. You should go ahead and download the new app. And then starting on October 1st, they will no longer be able to log into backup and sync. So they're going to need to go ahead and get that Drive for Desktop app downloaded. So that's something that's definitely pending very soon. So if you know that you or users in your organization have backup and sync still installed, they're going to get some bumps from Google, but you might want to go ahead and bump them as well. Okay, another really obvious one that I just clicked over very quickly is the new admin left-hand navigation bar. So if you are an admin, if you go to your admin console, you'll see this really snazzy new navigation bar on the left side, which is really great and reminds me a lot of the Drive collapsing and expanding tree that we have here, right, where you can even close it and kind of like on Gmail, where you can go into any of these. I'm going to go into directory, and then it'll expand and show you all of your sub settings here, be able to go into any of these, and it's still be able to be here at the same time, be able to see all of this, and it's not just taking up the whole page anymore. So that way you can go ahead and be able to more easily navigate your admin console. It's a nice new UI improvement. Okay, the Google Drive security update. Maybe you've seen this, maybe you haven't. It's been this thing that's just been looming for a month or two now. Google Drive recently, or is in the process of making Google Drive link sharing more secure. So previously, you would Google Drive would just share a link based off of who a user who's added to a file, but now they're making it more secure by having a resource key on that file. So essentially what that means, if you're an admin, the time to make that decision has passed. But if you're a user, you've probably already been notified via email or via Drive of any files that may have been impacted by this. When I look back at my files, it was only like 3 files from like 6 years ago that weren't used anymore. So users should be getting emails about, hey, these files may need to be reshared with certain users or maybe impacted with certain users. So if folks are getting those emails, you just need to say, hey, you're probably going to have to reshare these. If you've got very public links that they're impacting, you're going to go ahead and have to to update those public links to just the new links. So that's something that is coming very soon. Those emails have been going out during August and going out for the next 2 weeks. And then any changes will be enforced on September 13th. Okay. If you are a Google Meet user, which we are both, or all 3 of us currently using Google Meet, there's an enhancement to live streams that has been coming for a little while, and that's cross-domain live streams. So now you can go ahead and live stream outside of just your domain. This isn't public live streams, but you are adding trusted domains to your console. So that way, if you have a sister domain or a partner company with different domains, you want to be able to live stream across multiple platforms, you can go ahead now and do that. Also, captions, which are available in meetings right now. If you can turn on captions and get me captioned, the captions are now available in live streams as well. I just want to show you quickly, if you're an admin, how to add a trusted domain to your live stream settings in case you wanted to go ahead and do some cross-domain live streams. So if I'm in my admin console, I'm going to go into apps. I'm going to scroll on down to Google Meet. If you have Workspace collapsed, you have to just expand Workspace and go into Meet. And then in your Meet video settings in here, we're just going to expand this. And then we're going to scroll down to Stream. So the first thing is, obviously, you need to have let people stream the meetings checked on for at least the OU that you're interested in. It doesn't need to be for all of them. And then if you have a sister domain that you want to go ahead and trust. So, right, maybe you want it to be, I don't know, Yahoo. I mean, that's not really the thing, but you know what I mean. You could add that in there, hit save, and then anybody who's coming from that domain will be able to go ahead and see, participate in those live streams, which is really super. Okay. All right, so we're getting more into the user features, the all user features. So if there's anything admin specific that folks are interested in that didn't necessarily cover enough detail, just holler and I'll go back. So a new Google Contacts experience has been rolled out to give you a little bit more insight about the users in your organization. So assuming that your admin, whether it's you or somebody else, has populated the details of users into there, including managers, department, title, all that jazz, then anybody can easily see that of the folks in their domain. So I have contacts open here. This is me just going to a contact within my domain. Right now, you're not seeing anything interesting here because this user doesn't have a lot of interaction. But the screenshot that is added here you can really see a lot of more directory information, any interactions, whether it's emails and meetings. And then if you have managers involved and added in there, you can see the manager chain linked in there. So a really interesting thing if you have all of your data properly populated that your users can take advantage of. Okay. All right. So recently announced was the ability to block another user in Google Drive, which is a really new, interesting thing. So if a user is blocked, they will not be able to share any Drive items with you, and you will not be able to share anything with them. And anything that was shared with them, they will not be able to view anymore. You cannot block users within your domain, and blocking a user on Drive will also block them from interacting with you on other apps and services. So an interesting feature. I want to show you, I've got some screenshots here to give you an idea of what that looks like, but I'll just show you really quickly. If I go to Drive and I were to go to something that says shared with me, I shared this with myself. If I were to right click on that, I could see I now have this button here called, it says block Nick at Cloudasta. If I click that, I'm going to get this pop-up. I'm not going to do it because that wouldn't be great. But I get this pop-up that says, this person no longer interact with you on Google Drive and certain other products. Do you want to do it? And you would click yes, or if you made a mistake, click cancel. And I would go ahead and block that user. So an interesting feature that anybody can take advantage of if you have any particular users sharing things with you that you didn't want shared with you. Okay, this is probably my favorite new feature to come out this summer because I think it is so essential for how so many folks are working in hybrid workplaces and making calendar even more flexible than it already is. introducing new RSVP options so you can indicate how you plan to join a meeting, whether it's in a meeting room or virtually, or just saying yes because you're not sure. So this is something that's been rolled out on Google Calendar, and soon will be coming out to calendar invitations in Gmail. You can see in this screenshot here, it's really, really super, where at the very bottom, when you click yes, you can choose, do you want to be joining in a meeting room or virtually? I think this is going to take a little bit of time for folks to get used to, but I think it is extremely, extremely helpful. I wanted to show you an example that I have here. Here's my calendar. I'm going to kind of zoom in here. Maybe you can see this a little bit better. Okay, I have my meeting. I'm going to click this meeting. And, oh man, zooming in is not actually going to help us here. So let's not do that, friend. Okay, we will come back to calendar in a few minutes. But what you can see here is that example that they list here, being able to select yes or no, or yes in a meeting room, or yes joining virtually, which I think is really, really, really helpful. And all these features are just on by default, so you don't have to do anything. They're just gonna be there on your domains. If they're not there yet, they should be there any moment now. But I think they should all be there. Recently, Google Chat also released the ability to collaborate more directly with Google Slides. So if a user shares a Google Slide link directly in chat, then they can go ahead and click that, and it'll open up in the sidebar there, and you can be live chatting on the side and working in slides. That way, you're not toggling between windows as much, and it should be a little bit easier to be collaborating live on a slide if you're utilizing Google Chat. Okay, a few more. Google Chat also automatically suggesting groups based on calendars. So if you have an upcoming appointment or your upcoming meeting, on the top of your Google Chat in a little pin, a little shortcut, it'll start saying, hey, I think you're probably going to want to chat with these people. And it'll like create a little room for you right at the very top, which is really, really great. If you are a team that's highly utilizing Google Chat, this was already a feature for one-to-one chat suggestions. So if you had a one-on-one meeting, it would also show up at the top, and now also for groups. So a cool little thing that just helps maybe a couple less clicks or a couple less digging that is now rolling out everywhere. Okay, this is a minor one, but also we want to make sure folks don't get confused. A visual update to the Gmail search bar. So there's a new icon at the very, very top. I'll show you where this is on my instance in a second. That's a little bit more showing an advanced search versus just the kind of like the drop-down old arrow icon. And then an update to the prompt that says search all conversations, talking about searching Gmail and chat, not just mail. So I'll just show you a little bit what that looks like on mine, just so you can really see where that lives. So right here at the very top, you can see we have that new button to show search options. And you can see we have this new language that says search all conversations. So if I drop that down, we can go ahead and add more details in there. Again, it's just a small visual update, but it can be helpful to just make things a little bit clearer for folks. Okay, and then one of our last ones, if you are a Sheets user, is being able to perform basic actions to multiple tabs in Sheets at once. So this includes moving tabs together, deleting, duplicating, copying, coloring, hiding. So to select multiple sheets, you can hold Control or Command, depending on if you're on PC or Mac, to select individuals, or you can hold Shift to go ahead and select contiguous tabs, and then go ahead and make the change that you're interested in doing. This GIF, I think, is really, really helpful in showing what that looks like, and being able to say, hey, I want to go ahead and hide 3-4 sheets at once, and it's really easy to do. Okay. All right. That was our rundown of, I don't know what that was, 10, 12 new features. I'm hoping that something in there for you was interesting and an exciting nugget. Again, for me, my favorite one was the how are you attending on Google Calendar in a meeting or virtually. I think that's going to be really, really helpful for folks to make things a little bit clearer. But that's just me. So I know we have one question in the chat right now that I'd be happy to dive into a little bit. But I want to pause in case either folks have questions about any of the features we talked about or anything else. So I'll just pause for 1 minute, let folks collect their thoughts, and either unmute or just share in the chat if you have any other questions or comments or thoughts about anything we've talked about today. I wanted to kind of give you an update on the upcoming webinars over the next couple of weeks. So in 2 weeks, we're going to do managing Drive for your organization for admins. So how to best set up all of your Drive settings. Seems like this would be right, your question is right in the ballpark of that kind of a thing. So we'll be talking about that. And then following 2 weeks on September 6th, I'd love it if you pass along to your users, even if you are a small company, of getting the most out of Drive. So if folks are new to Drive or haven't been using it just in a minimal way, what are the best ways that they can go ahead and use it? Awesome. Thank you so much for coming. Thanks so much for your time, and have a great weekend.